You unlock this door by pressing play on your podcast player. Beyond it is Aspara, another world. A world of distractions, a world of horrors, a world of betrayal. You're moving into a land of neither good nor evil, of blurry lines and gray areas, of what happened last time on the Incorrigible party. The nearly constructed tower safe for now. The party uncovers the power source of Tinnerman's constructs. Shaft recovers a small sack crafted from humanoid skin from the Iron Cobra with Nina's voice. Severing the tubules that hold it in place reveals the bag's contents to be some kind of life essence, as it escapes before the tubes are tied off. You've now crossed into the continuing adventure.
Okay, so should we just take the night, stay here? How much time do we have left?
Yeah, do we know what time of night it is?
Well, night has really just fallen, so it's maybe a couple hours before midnight.
And we have 4 more days till Samuel comes?
That's right, yeah.
What if we rest tonight, and then we leave at dawn? Go into Jukal while it's still dark? Or should we wait the whole time till the replacements come?
Well, you definitely know that the scheduled next shift is for dawn. Ideally, they will arrive
Hopefully
before
sooner.
that.
Right.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
sent Hulsa, Mullen, and Dreg to try and get them to come sooner, but it could take as long as dawn, potentially.
I say we stay here, protect these guys in case things go awry, and if everything goes smooth, then I can bind these wounds up a little bit and head into Jukal in the morning.
Yes, perhaps we can get a little bit of shelter in the tower. I don't know. But I agree. I think they would appreciate us keeping watch with them. They're down some numbers.
It does not seem as we have a choice.
Falzarin, you gonna burn the bodies?
Is there anything we can learn from them before I do?
Yeah, I'm assuming they had the tattoos, but was there any other markings on them?
Well, perhaps we should look a bit closer.
Yeah, I'll walk over towards the bodies.
As you are all walking towards the nice uniform pile that Abe Zarin has created, Shakara, you catch your reflection for the first time in a long time, especially since some of your recent changes. But in one of the discarded pieces of metal torn from one of the constructs, you see yourself in what's physically happens to you for the first time, really.
I will look at myself and see where the scales have fallen off, and I will hesitantly reach up and touch my face to feel the skin underneath. And I will just look at it, and if anybody's paying attention, I will look a little sad. And my hand will drop to my side. Then I will give myself a nod and look resolute and determined and a little angry. And I'll look out into the distance and stalk off.
Abe Zarin had done a pretty good job of piling up these orc bodies. There were quite a number of them. So you just want to look over them, kind of see what's on them kind of thing, and or what exactly, is there something specific you might be looking for?
I think we just want to look and see what the tattoos, get a closer look at the tattoos and see if there's anything else, other markings or anything that might have changed since the last time we've seen one of these orcs.
Yeah, it's true. Like any hint of like sort of Niyogi information that maybe we don't know, or I don't
Okay.
know.
Yeah. One of them is carrying the Encyclopedia of Niyogi, so you have all the
Oh,
information.
beautiful.
Just as I thought.
What are the odds?
Right?
Why would they bring a historian into battle? Idiots.
Well, maybe they're short on mind control orcs. Who knows?
Well, if they have to do history checks, it's good to have them around to get advantage.
He was weeks away from finishing his PhD in the Niyogi sciences.
God, he worked so hard on that thesis.
I know.
The tattoos
Thesis
on there.
is mine now.
Yeah. The tattoos on their forehead. So inspecting like a handful of them. There are very few that have the exact same tattoo. if you recall some of the few times that you've seen them before, they're variations, right? It's almost, they're like different, like characters of a language almost. So there's clearly this type of like they're similarities, like a structure, right? Like the foundations of this kind of symbol or sign, but there's variations. So it's actually, once you have this look at them and get a little familiar with them, it's pretty easy to actually pick out the differences amongst the tattoos. Subtle, but being more and more accustomed to them, clearly this is some type of way to like demark maybe ownership, or like, you know, who mind controls whom,
like a
kind of
signature
thing.
from the artist type thing.
But yeah, maybe something like that, exactly. The only other thing about the tattoos specifically, on, it looks like all of the orcs that you're inspecting, they look faded in the flesh of the orcs, like they've been on them for a long time, like they're old tattoos.
I wonder how long ago they were held captive. Like, look at this.
They certainly don't seem like fresh tattoos.
Yeah.
Any indication of to what tribe they may belong to?
You've certainly the maybe tatters of tribal clothing still left over, but as well as the age of the tattoos, it seems any of their garb is also aged, and clearly the Neogi have had no real reason to keep them in the newest or freshest of clothing. They're functional. They're still functional. So yeah, you can definitely make out specific orcs sharing specific tribal colors. So it does seem like there is, again, a mixture of tribes here under the enslavement of the Neogi.
Now, like, their appearance, do they look okay? As I know how orcs are, but like, do they look more disheveled than usual? Like, like they look homeless, like no showers, beards, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unkept.
I do know what you mean, and I think Shaft would certainly be the authority to point something like that out. But yeah, they certainly look ungroomed. Again, maybe it would certainly depend on the tribe too, whether or not that is like the status quo amongst the specific group of orcs. But definitely, as if like these look like older orcs as well. They're not young, as orcs kind of age quite quickly, right? They have a lifespan, I think, is a little shorter than that of a human. So they are clearly unkempt, longer hair, maybe some broken and jagged fingernails, that kind of stuff.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
And I will walk over to the pile of orcs and look for 3 that look the freshest. And I will cast Animate Dead.
Freaking kidding me?
And revive 3 of them. So we now have 3 orc zombies.
Okay.
Holy crap.
And I will look at the rest of you and I'll say, we now have bodyguards. They will do my bidding. Do not worry.
My goodness, Shakara. That is some interesting magic you're able
Now, is this another coven ability, or?
It is another coven ability.
Look at that. So yeah, Shakara just kind of, you find some of the youngish looking ones, right? Maybe some of the ones that also had some of the fewest wounds from the battle, kind of thing, right?
Yes.
Pull them out, drag them, and perform your magics, and more scales start to flake from your face, almost like this dramatic amount of scales fall off.
And I just wipe my face and get them just like a little bit of an itch, and just wipe them off my face and just go about my business.
As you scratch and wipe, and just more come off at your touch.
Shakara.
I just glance over at Mia and over at Falzarin, and just sort of give him a head shake, like.
Falzarin raises his brows.
Mia's like scratching her head and like looking side-eyed at Shakara, like, Shakara, what are you thinking? This is an abomination. What are you doing?
They can protect us.
Sure,
They
but,
can
like,
stand guard for us. We do not care about these creatures. Why not use them to our advantage?
no.
Why not save one of us? Why not save one of the paladins and send these orcs off to fight their own?
Can you give them commands? Like, can they go find the rest of them and tell them to go somewhere else?
I can command them to attack.
I feel like this is not the type of magic we should be messing with, Shakara. Did we not?
What type of magic should we be messing with?
Now, Shakara,
Okay.
Mia, I appreciate your background and your upbringing, but
Shakara had the same background. She also agreed that undead constructs are evil, and then, like, look at her now.
well,
She's freaking losing scales.
yes, it is.
It is
How do I-
only a byproduct of the power I have been given that I will use for the betterment of Aspara. How else are we to protect ourselves and this land and those that we are guarding?
I will say, Shakara, it is a bit disconcerting.
You
The
should have
effects of
asked
this
us. You
magic-
just did it.
I need your permission?
Look, hey, for tonight, let's just let it go.
Tonight we can sleep, and they can stand guard.
I look down at my wounds because I'm definitely not doing very well, and I said I don't mind 3 people sort of wandering around to take some arrows while I get some rest.
I agree with Shaft. This is not the time to have this discussion. I would just say, Shakara, be careful of how deep you go down this path. It's having visible effects on your body and perhaps other effects that we cannot see. Some magic comes at a cost.
Is any cost too great to save what you love?
Is it to save what you love, or is it because you like expressing this new power you have?
I did it for us.
Right.
I did it for the land. I did it for all of our families and all of our friends.
But Shakara, I would remind you of what Alamar has tried to convince us of, that no price is too great for his goals, which seem to be reasonably just. He wants to protect Heraklion, but is lichdom a reasonable means to that end? Anyway, I think we've all said our piece, Shakara.
Well, I have a lot
Yeah.
more to say, but I don't even know where to start.
And I just completely turned my back on Mia and I turned to Falzarin.
I thought we had an
I
understanding.
see
I thought
your
we
point,
were
Falzarin.
cut from the same cloth. This is...
And I do notice the changes, obviously. But I feel we are in extreme circumstances. And extreme measures must be taken.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we can't go through another round like we just had. None of us will make it out.
Yes, I think we need to work together.
Sure. Here's the problem.
Mia, this is not something I take lightly.
Shakara! Once they attack and we see them in the distance, revive them then. Why do it now without any,
Because it takes
warning?
me time and energy
Okay.
to do this. This is not an easy spell.
I just can't believe... you knew how I felt and you just did it.
Let's
I
You
am
knew what
sorry.
I would say.
I am sorry. I will warn you next time. Although I hope there will never be another need.
That's what you say.
Great. That's settled. Now let's figure out how we can sort of put some stuff around here to protect us if things go awry again. And I go over to one
Ask
of the
Shakara,
wagons
she'll
and
revive them all.
sort of push some wagons and stuff around the front. There's only one entry into this tower, correct?
I do not have the energy to revive them all.
The tower does only have one way in, and it was it looks like it's a well-constructed door. It does have some of that like metal ribbing and reinforcement in it, and so there are no wagons around here. There were again. So Silas had directed Lance and Hannigan to start collecting what equipment they had, in hopes of figuring something out, some additional way to maybe defend themselves should another attack come. So, these are the supplies that they have. They have 2 block and tackles, 100 feet of chain, 500 feet of rope, 50 extra torches, 5 flasks of oil, 20 pitons, 25 1-foot-long metal spikes, a few additional weapons like 3 wooden shields. There looks like there's a bundle of about 20 javelins, 2 nets, and then 2 sleds for moving, again, equipment itself. Just throw it on and you can, push it and move large amounts of material much more quickly, right? So that's kind of the loose jumblings of equipment that you have at your disposal. If there is anything that you want to try to do as far as set up defenses or anything, that's what Silas and Lance and Hannigan are going to be trying to do themselves. Basically waiting for Dreg's return with reinforcements, right? So it's really up to all of you whether or not you want to pitch in, or if you just think you want to maybe take a short rest and roll some hit dice. Shakara can get her zombies to do whatever she wants. So it's up to you. I mean, you've got full run of the place.
Can you remind me what's remaining of like functioning constructs? What didn't get killed?
So all 3 of the stone defenders are functioning. There's 2 iron cobras, and then the 3 oaken bolters, which are like on the sides of the towers. And I will remind you, it's nighttime, so your vision on this battlefield is limited as well. So those are kind of the elements that you're battling with as well. So what do you all do?
I suggest we use the tower as some kind of defense area. Block it off with something around the front door so they can't gain entry. Maybe post some people up there on the scaffolding to be able to shoot some arrows down if we get the opportunity. And I might be able to scout out and see if anything's coming. And I sort of give a look over at Mia and go, "Hey, you got a second?" And I start walking over around the back side of the tower.
I'll follow Shaft.
I say, I take the manacles off of my wrist that are double up on one wrist and hand them over to her and go, "If I'm going to be out there, I need a quick way to get back. Put these on and I ought to be able to teleport back to you when I need to."
Where are you going?
I'm going to go out to the northwest. If anything else is coming, I assume it's going to be right behind where the last group came. And I'll just sneaky out there and see if anything's on its way.
Okay, yeah, I mean, glad that we can use these, sure. So I take the manacles and they grow like 4 sizes bigger to fit around my wrist. and
her manacles grew 4 sizes
just
that
like
day.
your heart.
4 sizes that day.
They go from the wrist of a 6-year-old child to that of an Amazonian,
Yep.
magically, instantly.
I'll put them on my like shield arm.
Okay.
So then if he also like zaps back right to the manacles, he's like behind the shield. He's about as big as my shield, it's fine.
So I'm going to go ahead and just cast, I'm not going to do anything right now. I'm just going to go ahead and start moving out in the darkness, trying to track, if the best I can, where the last group came from, and slowly move from sort of cover to cover, listening as I go.
Shaft, would you like to take one of... And I gesture to the zombies. With you as a bodyguard?
No, they're noisemakers.
Yeah, this is more of like a stealth mission, I would assume. Don't worry, guys. I've got the shackles on my wrist. He's gonna go look out, see what he can find. We know he's the sneakiest one.
That is true.
Alright, so what can we do around here at the tower? Any ideas?
These oaken bolters, Leland, from what I understand, they're sort of like an oversized crossbow.
Yeah, they're like automated ballista.
Okay. I wonder if these oaken bolters happen to be in the battle when any of these winged creatures return. Perhaps we could fashion some of this rope or chain to one of the bolts, and if they manage to land a shot on one of these winged beasts, we could have it on a rope, prevent it from flying around. pull it down to the ground.
Is there any controlling where they shoot?
Well, I suppose that is the issue, is we probably don't have any control over what they target. Is Silas around anywhere?
Yeah,
within earshot of me?
definitely. Once we've started talking about, setting up the defenses, he's certainly with you.
Silas, Captain, these oaken bolters, are they fairly autonomous, or is there any way to sort of control what they might aim at should we get attacked again throughout the night?
I mean, if you want to man them like a regular ballista, you absolutely can. There's nothing stopping you from directing where they're firing. So you're suggesting that we bring them down to the ground then and off of the top of the towers, or?
Well, no, I think they're at a very advantageous place on the tower. I wonder if a person might be able to get up alongside or behind one of them and guide it to target specific enemies. I was thinking perhaps we could fashion a length of rope or chain to one of the bolts within it, and if we get attacked by these flying beasts again, we could target them, and if we land a shot, pull them down from out of the sky.
I like it. I can certainly have the men up there manning the ballistae.
It looks like we have more rope than chain, Falzer, and how far do these things shoot?
Well, I suppose we could, if we're manning them, we could hold off and wait until one of these flying creatures gets closer.
Now, this scaffolding, what does it look like? Is it like just wood?
Yeah, so that was it is made of wood. It does look a little rickety, and it only goes about 50 feet high, which is about half the height of the tower itself.
And how thick are the posts, sort of like... I'm guessing it's just kind of like modern scaffolding in a way, where it's just like evenly spaced posts horizontally and vertically.
It's as uniform as it could have been lashed together. It's clearly just bound together by rope, planks of wood over top of basically the frame of it, right?
And the frame, though, how thick would the pieces be? That's what I'm
I
trying
would
to
say
figure out.
they're probably anywhere between 3 to 6 inches in diameter.
Okay.
They're not all uniform. It's clearly hand carved pieces. And
Right.
some of it looks like it's actually just scrap material and as if they've used whatever they've had on hand.
I just wonder, guys, if we're going to set any traps, we could set a trap under the scaffolding, and looks pretty flimsy. If we could hook up these foot-long spikes on the one side, on the north side, and in last-ditch effort, get the orcs or any enemies below it, just knock it over right on top of them.
I think that's not a bad idea. They may see this scaffold and see it as a means
Try to
climb up, and if we set it up so that it can be brought down on top of them, that may take out quite a few.
Looks like we have some pitons, some spikes. I don't know. We could just try to make it sort of like a diversion into the trap, and then spring the trap if it came to that.
I like it. We could throw down some oil on top of them, and I could light it aflame.
Or Shakara, she's a.
Certainly.
Are you still a dragon?
You want to light me a flame?
No. You are a dragonborn still, right? You could light it yourself.
Oh, yes. I have not used my breath weapon in some time, but yes.
Okay.
Well, of course she's still a dragonborn, Mia.
I mean, she's 3/4 in the face now, but...
Let's move on.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Look, these are all great ideas. First thing we're going to do, we're going to light up this battlefield. It was a hell of a time out there fighting. He just, again, motions to Lance and Hannigan, kind of gives them the torches, right? And they kind of set off out into in the same direction the shaft had taken off, really. And it looks like they're just taking the torches, lighting them, and just jabbing them into the ground about every 20 or 30 feet. They are humans, so they don't have dark vision, so they definitely need the light. Plus, though, the light is actually going to give all of you more of a field of vision as well.
Right.
Far outside of just
range.
your dark vision. Yeah, absolutely. Which also means that the oaken bolters will be able to see further and shoot further. So that's what they're doing.
Where are the oaken bolters' eyeballs?
Well, you do see they have those draconic faces on them, so you can go up there and look for well, You can go out there and look for eyeballs if you want.
I mean, maybe
It's
at
not my
some
fault.
maybe at maybe at some point while I'm in the scaffolding and like setting that trap, I'll like examine closer. But
Silas also continues. You know what, Falzern? I think it's not going to be enough just to rope down any potential flying creatures. We got to have the men to pull them down. We should put something heavy on the end of the rope. If we can maybe get one or two of these sleds up there, load them up with shit, and we can just push them through the hole in the top if we rope something. Pull them right down.
Yes, I like that idea.
so there is a little bit of dead weight around here. I like nod my head to the dead bodies.
Yes, I will command the former orcs.
Well, they're
To
still
carry the
orcs, right?
sleds.
Huh?
What should we call them?
The orc and borkers.
We could call them.
Borg.
We could shorten former orcs into forks, perhaps.
Dorcs. They're dead orcs. They're dorks. Yes.
I will command the dorks to carry the sleds up.
The dorks.
All right. Let's. Okay, I'm gonna need some checks. So, Mia, are you gonna be attaching spikes to the scaffolding here?
Yeah, I'm gonna, because I have a hammer. It's perfect. That's why I was wondering how thick it was, because if it could, like, from the back, just pound them in, I could get it done pretty quick.
Right.
They're still
right.
sticking out 8 inches, whatever. But average sized spike.
I'm gonna get a check from the three of you. You can make your case what kind of skill you would like to roll, and the skill is gonna, depending on what DC you meet, it's gonna determine how effective your measures are here. Whether that's like with tying off the ropes to the bodies. I mean, obviously it's gonna be pretty efficient for the dorks to get the some other additional dorks, the non-undorks up to the top there to lash ropes around them. So, Mia, what kind of check do you want to make for me? What kind of skill would you like to apply?
I think athletics makes sense. Just like trying to use my hammer and like my strength and ability to like not fall and die to my death off the scaffolding, attach things, yada yada.
Okay, absolutely. And also the better you perform on these checks is going to determine how long it takes you to finish your task as well.
I rolled a 23.
Okay, very good.
That would be a nat 20, by the way, just so you know. That's a yeet.
Falzern.
Well. What are the odds I can convince you that this has anything to do with magic?
Intelligence.
One might say that it's a bit of a survival skill to be able to, pound spikes, that sort of thing, and...
If you look at the description of it, it's not.
Righto. I mean...
Survival is following tracks, hunting wild game, guiding your group through wastelands.
Okay.
You're not properly using the help command.
Oh yeah, sorry. Did you? Oh, Falzern, you asked for help. You should probably try to say that your insight into where the right spot to put the spike is perfect.
So, I mean, it's probably athletics or strength, either of which I have.
Well, you don't necessarily
plus
have
nothing.
to be helping put in spikes. You could be doing something else, right? Like something...
Yeah, true. You're smart. Just do something smart people do.
Just do something smart.
Fresh out of ideas.
Whether or not that's as simple as, like, utilizing these nets somehow, or figuring out where you want to keep the oil to just some type of plan is all you need, is a loose plan to put in. Like some type
Okay.
of, just outline a scenario for me where you would utilize something here. And you can apply you can do just an intelligence roll if you want to something like that.
Yeah, I think I am going to focus on the oil because I'm an evocation wizard, so fire plus oil equals good things happening. And I guess, yeah, maybe I'll...
Where the magic happens.
Yeah. Maybe I will also work on setting up a net at the base of the tower in front of the entrance, so that if the entrance happens to get swarmed and they're looking like they're going to make their way through, perhaps I can set up some sort of pulley system using the block and tackles.
I have a quick question. If you were to attach a net somehow onto the the bolter, right? Because you're saying you're going to put a rope on it too. Would like a net help bring down a flying creature potentially just from like getting tangled in its wings or something?
But if it's on the end of the rope, the net's not gonna.
But if you like aimed up, yeah, I don't know.
I think it'd be exceptionally difficult.
You would
pull
have
out.
to do something to the bolt that would get shot as well. Like you would have to. I mean, and I would certainly let you make the check to try to fasten something like that, but it's it might be a little more involved than just simply attaching a net to the end of an arrow. You know
Well,
what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
You'd probably have to attach 2 bolts to short rope with the net strung between, and then fire them both simultaneously.
It wouldn't even be a bad thing to do that with 2 bolters, like, and aim it at the ground, like an army of charging people.
True.
So why
That's
am
fair.
I coming up with this? We can make it sound like the smart wizard did, but like we can re-record it.
Like you're the idea person. Falzarin's
Yeah.
the one that figures out how to actually do the mechanics of it.
Sure.
You're the dreamer, Mia.
Oh, it's what demigods do. It's tough. It's tough being a demigod.
I think the oil situation is pretty straightforward. We're probably just going to huck them down on orcs trying to get up the tower or get inside, and then light them aflame. And then, as Mia was saying, perhaps I think we have 2 nets, so one at the entrance to the tower so that they can't get inside easily. And then, yeah, I think maybe if we can string 2 of these huge bolts to one net and fire them simultaneously and take a flying beast out of the sky, that would be pretty epic. I don't know if you think intelligence is reasonable to come up with the smarts to...
I think that's fine. I think it's more there's no engineering roll, so I think that I'll definitely take that. You can just make a straight intelligence roll, I suppose.
Can I just clarify with you, Lillian, that when I'm doing the spikes and setting up the scaffolding, I think I would also be like maybe using some of the wreckage or something, kind of making like a pry bar sort of thing to make it easier to push from like a lower level or something.
Okay. Yep.
I don't know.
Absolutely. You can even maybe weaken some of the lower supports. But you did say do you want to have people on it, or you just want to use it to tip over?
No, I think it's going to be like just the structure falling. I don't want anyone falling with it. So that's the idea too of like maybe one on each side, like some sort of like prying
Okay.
sort of system instead of just pushing where you're more likely to then fall. Like I'd rather us be leaning back than leaning forward.
All right.
Are there stairs inside the tower? How do we get to the top?
So it's like a spiral staircase. If you recall the description from a couple episodes ago, along the inside of it, it just stone spirals all the way up to the top. Yeah.
Okay. So we don't need the scaffolding.
No.
So I have a 14 on my intelligence check.
It's the thought that counts.
It's a thought that counts.
Shakara. So you are commanding the dorks to bring other dorks up top, and anything else?
Am I taking the sleds up with the dorks?
It depends on whether or not you think the bodies would be enough. Because if you had a number of bodies in mind, could also factor into just how long it would take to set up as well.
So if each dork carries a dead orc, and then I can also probably haul one small dead orc.
Mm-hmm.
That might be enough. How many bodies do we need at the top of the tower? And look around at anybody that wants to answer.
How many fit in the sleds?
Suppose I could load up a sled with 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, if it's not too much weight to load it fully at this level. I mean, tower's pretty high. When I'm done here, I could help you.
I will command the 3 dorks under my command to load up one of the sleds with 4 dead orcs, and the 4 of us will then drag it all up to the top of the tower. And for this, I will use athletics. 21.
Okay. You all are doing quite well. Okay, so, Shaft. It's incredibly easy to pick up the tracks of the last attack. Like I said, there was like 24 orcs. You could very easily follow their tracks in the opposite direction that they had been traveling.
Okay, I want to follow those out. Maybe a mile or so. Along the way, is there any brush or trees or anything in the area, or is it open?
It is quite open. There might be a very minimal amounts of vegetation, as you're actually getting very close to the base of the mountains.
Okay, so I want to pick up some items that I could sort of stick here and there for creating some kind of camouflage. I have an ability called Hide in Plain Sight, which will allow me to sort of blend in with the area. So I want to gather those materials that I think might be handy if something comes along. And I want to try, as I say, I want to go out about a mile, maybe a little bit further, and then I'm just going to stop and take sort of off the beaten path a little ways, and try to take a short rest while just listening to see if I hear or see anything off in the distance. Try to find a high vantage point.
Okay, absolutely. So you bunker down, so you don't need to make any... What does the hide in plain sight exactly do?
So you can spend 1 minute creating camouflage for yourself from naturally occurring materials. Once you're camouflaged, you can try to hide by pressing yourself against a solid surface and gain a +10 bonus to stealth checks, as long as you remain there without moving or taking actions. So it's sort of, I've prepped for this situation in case something comes over the hill or sneaks up on me. I can try to hide.
Then go ahead and make me a stealth for kind of the last in this loose skill challenge.
So that is I'm giving you let's go ahead. So that is 18. Or not, so it'd be 20.
All right, that's pretty good. I will say you are going to get your short rest, but a little before that is complete. So yeah, you know you're walking about a mile out, and you find your place to hunker down, and all camouflaged up and basically waiting for activity, right?
Mm-hmm.
So back at the tower, then it will take Falzer in the better part of an hour, maybe closer to an hour and a half, to figure out just exactly how to load up and make this net bolt contraption, right? In addition to rigging up the door as well with the net, right?
Yep. Is it reasonable to, can we count that as performing a short rest during that period, or
no,
is that too much activity?
No, unfortunately, the three of you will not get a short rest there. So the way you've made the bolters, right? The two you have a choice. After successfully creating this projectile, fingers crossed it's going to work, obviously. You're going to have to fire it to figure out whether it works. But you have the choice to preload them and keep it loaded, which would mean if something that you didn't want to fire the net at came around, that's all that they would be loaded to fire. You would have to unload them, which would be an action, and then to load them back up again, would be a second action, right? Because there's people manning these things now. So you have the choice whether or not to keep, which I would say would occupy 2 of the 3, right? To keep them loaded. And that's also going to go for the bolts that because you have a third bolt that you can just tie a rope to, right? Which with no net, and see how effective that could be. So you have that choice. I don't know if you want to preload those, we'll call it the special ammunition, if you want to preload them or not.
I'm thinking we wait until we see flying enemies before we load them.
Okay.
So we'll just work with the standard ammunition until we see flying enemies. I'm making an executive decision.
And the Paladin, so Silas, Lance, and Hannigan, they've finished lighting up the battlefield. So now you have light for a distance about 150 feet. They've put basically a row of torches, as many as they could. They were, with the limited amount that they have. Again, it almost makes like standing at the top of the tower, it's like making this like runway that they've kind of steered and curved it towards the jury-rigged scaffolding as well, kind of trying to make this loose trail for whatever effect that may or may not have. And you also see that they've taken the javelins and just around the front door of the tower itself. They've jabbed them into the ground to make a very quick makeshift kind of spike barricade. Again, what that's going to be worth is we'll have to see if it gets tested, if and when it gets tested. So once all that work is done, you can all certainly settle in for your own short rest if you wanted.
Yes, absolutely. I would be interested in rolling some hit die and recovering some spell slots.
Same.
The paladins are going to be hunkered in the tower as well. They're going to leave the stone defenders. As you see, they've as Silas commands the stone defenders, they set up around the right up against the stone walls of the tower, right? And then they go completely motionless, and it's almost like they kind of immediately camouflage right in with their big stone slabs kind of thing. The Iron Cobras will be doing a kind of a loose patrol at the very beginning of the torch trail, this torch runway. So they're still out there. Lance and Hannigan go up to the top, right, to man the ballistae along with Silas, so they're keeping the bird's eye view. You all can hang out at the top as well. Do you just want to be inside the tower at the bottom?
I want to be up top, I was going to say, yeah.
Okay.
I will command 2 of the dorks to go guard the door of the tower, and if anything gets through, they should attack.
Okay. And you do see there is, you can bar the door inside the tower to like,
Okay.
It has its own wooden bar that you can throw in front of it. So you can certainly lock it up if you want.
Yeah, do that too.
Like, I basically see Mia keeping her distance from Shakara, so if Shakara, like, settles downstairs, she's like, peace, like, just goes upstairs.
I was going to stay upstairs.
Okay. Well, basically, I'm not going anywhere those dorks are.
There's 2 downstairs and 1 upstairs.
Okay, well, there's less upstairs, so...
The math checks out.
Falzarin's going to be upstairs as well because he plans on helping out with launching the special ammunition should it need to be launched.
Okay.
And as well as throwing flasks of oil on approaching enemies and lighting them afire.
Okay.
You should light the net on fire.
Ooh.
Soak the net in
oil. That would really
oil.
help his tensile strength.
And you see, so where they've positioned the 2, you just brought the one sled up there?
Yes. 1 sled with 4 dead orcs on it.
Okay. So where do you want to position that at? I think I would say the sled's probably a little too large for the if you recall the ceiling of this tower or the top floor, which I guess is relatively speaking the ceiling if you're inside. It has that hole in the middle, right? The hole's not quite large enough for the sled itself, so you could just position the sled at the top of the stairs to be able to just like push down the stone steps. Might take a couple of you to give it a push once something's latched or hooked. Once you've hooked the catch of the day, but that's set up to go, and you can all settle in for a short rest. So back to Shaft. You are waiting an hour at least. So go ahead. You can roll up some hit dice and heal what do you want. Get back whatever you get back at a short rest.
Okay, I've already done that.
Okay, great. After you've been out here for an hour and a half or so, and you hear footsteps and grunting, and along the same trail, it doesn't look like they're trying to make any effort in trying to alter their attack patterns. But you see a group of 4 orc warriors, very dressing similar garb, similar look to them to the bodies that you had inspected, heading towards the tower.
Yeah, are they all together? And
yeah, they're in a loose group.
And no others that I see around.
No, not from where you are.
How far away are they from me?
Well, just how far off have you gone from the trail? You would probably want to stay within your dark vision, I suppose, right?
Yeah. So I'd probably be 30 feet or so off the trail. And so when they get about within 120 feet of me, I'm going to cast a spell called Wind Wall. And so a strong wind rises up from the ground at a point right in the middle of them. And I can make a wall up to 50 feet long and 15 feet high, about a foot thick. And I'm going to shape it into a straight path that sort of or whatever the best opportunity is for me to get most of them in that area. And when it appears, they must make a strength saving throw, or take damage. I can tell you what that would be.
Oh. Okay, 2 of them are going to fail, and 2 will pass.
Okay, they take 3d8. Yeah, so 12 points of damage each. And I sort of want to stay outside of their range. And what happens? Do they?
So sorry, could you describe the wall? It's just like buffeting winds, like just smashing into them, or?
A wall of strong wind rises up from the ground from a point you choose within range. You can make a wall up to 50 feet long, 15 foot high, and 1 foot thick, and shape the wall in any way you choose, as long as it's a continuous path along the ground. The wall lasts for the duration, which is 1 minute. It is a concentration spell. And so this wall of wind rises up off the ground and pushes them, off the side of the path, I guess. They don't take any, they don't go prone or anything like that. It just does, like wind damage, I assume.
They look, they sound surprised, and they're grunting, and they're, obviously looking around, and you see that they start to fan out a bit, clearly searching for the source of whatever hit them.
Okay, so if I get an opportunity, I go ahead and I want to shoot a couple arrows at them.
Okay, now, sorry to back up a bit. You said when they were 120 feet. Remember, you're contending with the limits of your dark vision.
That's right. So how far away are they then? I guess still 120 feet?
Well, you can definitely hear them if they're 120 feet away, but you can't see them to determine that they're that far away. Like, you hear them well before you see them, right?
Okay, then I'm going to move up. I'm going to move up closer to the noise, slowly, and I'm going to go ahead and... Well, I want to keep the spell going, so they can't go through that wall if they're on the other side.
Okay, but my point is, you have to see the spot in which you place the wall. Yes.
It says you can make a wall on the ground at a point you choose within range of 120 feet. So that's up to you how you want to play that. If you want me to move closer, I'll move closer.
Just give me a perception check.
22.
Okay. I'm going to let you go off of kind of pinpointing them with your hearing, and you can certainly throw up the wall. So you've heard the effects of it, and if you want to get closer to actually see what they're doing, I mean, they are fanning out. That's what they're going to do. But if you do want to get closer to within sight in which you can put arrows into them, you can certainly track their noises and try to find them. Yeah.
Okay, I think I'll just sort of try to, flank around. In the darkness, trying to see if they're going to head any other direction. I assume they're going to go away from the wind wall that's created, because they would take damage if they went into it. So I'm going to sort of go around and try to get a little closer with my bow out. And if I see an opportunity with them within 30 feet of my dark vision, I'm going to try to loose an arrow. If not, so I'll just basically ready in action.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Well within your dark vision, you can easily get the jump on 2 of them. See, the wall is kind of like bisected the group, right? It kind of separated them. So there looks like there's about 2 on either side of the effects of your spell, and they are kind of circling the effects, right? But also making this kind of circular path around it as they're kind of fanning out, searching for whoever cast it.
Okay, so this wind wall will not allow smoke, fog, gases, flying creatures, arrows, things like that would have a problem through this wind wall. So I'm going to take the 2 on this side.
Okay, so like on your side of the wall.
On my side, and try to shoot an arrow into them. Okay, that's a 26 to hit. Do either of the 2 that I'm shooting at take damage already?
Yes, they all look like they've suffered some effect from your spell.
Okay, so the first attack would be 19 points of damage if a 26 hits. I hope.
Yep, definitely.
And second, does that one fall?
No, it does not.
Then I will take my second attack and shoot it the same one. That is a 21 to hit, and this time it would be 10 points of piercing damage, because I don't
Okay.
Across the Slayer twice. And then I'm just going to sort of kneel down a little bit for my movement.
Your second arrow is enough to put down one of these two in the group that you've targeted. And I guess we'll get you to roll initiative.
Okay.
So that was technically your surprise round, we'll call it.
They got to be able to see me, though, so hopefully that'll...
When you reanimate dead, like, what amount of hit points are recovered by these orcs?
That's a good... Well, they become
Because if
zombies.
he put a regular one down that quick, like, bodyguards...
Yeah, they just become zombies, which are not great stats.
Yeah, so your little bodyguard theory there's not convincing.
Yeah, 1 or 2 hits and they're going to be done. They're more of an early warning system.
It's still something.
Yeah, they don't get brought back as like the same thing that they were before they died, right?
No. Okay, Shaft, what did you get for initiative?
21.
Okay, yeah, you're definitely up. All right, there's three left.
All right, I'm gonna shoot some arrows into the one that's still on this side of the wall. That's a 24 to hit. That is only 12 points of damage. That's a 15 to hit.
That is a hit.
Awesome. Okay, that's only going to be 6 points of damage at this point.
Still up. Okay, you see, so the one that you fired, so your hide in plain sight specifically says if you're not doing anything, right? So that's not going to be
Well, it says I have to be pressed up against... Let me read it one more time to you. You can spend a minute to create camouflage of your naturally occurring materials. Once you're camouflaged, you can try to hide by pressing yourself against a solid surface to gain plus 10 bonus to stealth checks as long as you remain there without moving or taking actions. So I did take actions.
Right. All right. So you're kind of out there normally. So they're definitely going to be able to pinpoint this flurry of arrows that has rained down into them. But the other two, though, are still going to be hampered by the wall. So they're going to have to circumnavigate it, right?
Mm-hmm. It's 50 foot long.
Okay, wow. Okay. So you see, like many of the orcs that you've known throughout your life, these orcs have the aggressive trait in which they can use their bonus action to dash. So one is able to get the one that you've hurt quite a bit can get right up to you. The other two lagging up behind because of the wall interfering with them. And it's just going to take its great axe and swipe at you twice here. Wow, with a critical fail and a 10. So it's going to hurt himself.
Okay. I think we're good there.
I think we're fine. Ooh, goodness gracious. It's charging you, it's slobbering, and it's great axe high above its head, but it's dark, and you're still kind of camouflaged. He comes in with a swing, fumbles around himself, falling on the blade of his own axe and killing himself.
So smart.
Sucker.
And another one bites the dust, so you're back to you. So the two, they've gotten, I say they have probably had enough movement to get around the wall. I imagine, too, in the dark, it's really harder to tell the parameters, the perimeter of this wall. So you can see them as they're running. I mean, they're trying to move as quickly as possible, but they're tentatively, like, mapping the perimeter of your spell, right, with their weapon. You know, they're kind of putting it into it, and it's getting whipped back almost out of their hands as they're trying to figure out just where it's safe for them to walk. So I would say they get around, basically it would be the long edge of the wall, kind of right where you can still pepper arrows into them, so they're not protected really by it. But they will definitely be on you next turn.
Okay, so you would say they are within 60 feet of me, you think?
I was definitely. You can still see them.
All right, so I'm going to cast Zephyr Strike, which will, of course, get rid of my concentration spell, because this is a concentration spell. So the wall will disappear. So this says you move like the wind until your spell ends. Your movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks, and it lasts 1 minute. Once before the spell ends, you can give yourself advantage on one weapon attack roll on your turn. That deals an extra 1d8 force damage on a hit. Whether you hit or miss, your walking speed increases by 30 feet until the end of that turn. So what I'd like to do is pull out my scimitar and my short sword and run towards the one in the front of the pack. So if I'm within 30 feet, I could get there. And then I'm going to make my attack with my scimitar. Ugh, that's not good. That's only a 14 to hit.
A 14 still hits.
Ah,
Nice.
thank God.
It's either just like the tatters of leather, like hide armors on them. Again, aged armor, clearly not kept up at all or maintained, like a proud orc warrior would, right? Being prideful in its weaponry and what it wears and how it presents himself. There's clearly not able to tend to themselves like they normally would be able to.
Okay, so that's 19 points of damage. I'll take my second attack, and that one is 26 to hit, and that will be, 16 points of slashing damage.
Yeah, that another one goes down very easily.
And then my last attack on the other one. Is he close enough? Well, I still have 30 feet of movement with the spell, so I'm going to go ahead and run to him. That's a 28 to hit, and that one will do 32 points of damage. That's piercing, slashing, acid damage on top of that. The short sword of oozes.
Right. So that, the biting blade of it coated in the acid, carving through the hide into its flesh. In addition to the damage it suffered from the wall, the fourth one is dispatched.
Awesome. Okay, so then I'll put my weapons away and drag these bodies off maybe 30, 40 feet off the main trail and just sort of pile them up. And then go back and listen and wait.
And another 30, 40 minutes goes by and you hear more steps and grunting. And have you taken up the same position, utilizing your camouflage and that kind of thing?
Yes.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and make me another stealth then?
You ask him if he's doing that after you tell him there's more footsteps coming.
That's a good point.
That was what I was going to do. That is a 27.
So, yeah, of course.
These sounds and grunts significantly louder than the four that you've easily dispatched. Clearly, much higher numbers are now approaching.
Okay. Can I move up enough to get close enough to the side of the road where I can see, within my dark vision with my goggles, to sort of see as they pass by? I want to go ahead and cast Pass Without a Trace at this point, which will then give me a plus 20 to stealth. And I'd like to get right on the edge to be able to sort of count the numbers and see what things I can find.
So go ahead and give me another stealth here. And as you approach, taking up your position here with your roll, which is...
That would be, with the camouflage and Pass Without a Trace, that would be a 43.
Okay. Like a ghost in the wind, you stand. I mean, hell, you could be standing in the middle of the bloody road and they wouldn't be able to see you at this point. But
I'll be a stump.
you are a stump. You see, looks like there's about a dozen and a half orcs. Again, the same type of old aged warriors that you had just dispatched. Not quite as many as the first attack, but still significant numbers. This time accompanied by 4 Nyogi.
I am going to teleport back to Mia.
And that's our show. For more Aspara information, visit incorrigibleparty.com, where you can find all of our social media links, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, as well as our Patreon. Our patrons get exclusive content like blooper reels and patron-only mini-campaigns. Our theme music was created by Josh Jarvis. For any of your musical needs, you can contact him at jamesmercymusic@gmail.com. Well, the rest of our sounds and music throughout our plays provided by tabletopaudio.com. And of course, our show sponsor, Critical Hit Design. For your design needs, visit criticalhitdesign.com. Happy adventuring. As Shaft quickly teleports away from the approaching wave of orcs and Nyogi to inform the party back at the tower of their arrival, his hasty retreat means he misses the sound of large, leathery wings beating high above his vacated position, barely audible over the low, echoing roar of a lion, the high-pitched bleating of a goat, and the blistering cry of a dragon.